Hello, welcome to Appliance Master Live. I'm Bill, and at a safe social distance is Kari, my sidekick, over here.
Yep, hello. And today we just wanted to talk briefly about, different things about washing machines as far as what you can look out for indicating a problem and other things that you can update for your setup in order to make sure that your washing machine is working properly. So, Bill, what would be something that one of our customers should keep an eye out for as far as a basic setup?
Well, the things you should notice just by walking past your machine, first of all, one of the most, we still, even in today, the 21st century, we still see these on machines, these black hoses. In fact, I watched one just 2 weeks ago burst right in front of my eyes. It got a bubble on it, it gets a bubble, it swells, and then it starts spewing water. So if you see these on the back of your machine, you should get rid of those. You should have something, these are stainless steel mesh hoses, and so they last a lot longer. They're not subject to that kind of bursting, that quick breaking, and relatively inexpensive. And this should be a no-brainer. You should have this looked at immediately. It's one of the first things. Some other things. Oh, if you're walking around your machine and you see rust or corrosion on anything, that's a sign of like a slow water leak. And if you and where there's a slow water leak, there can at any point be a much bigger water leak. So look for that kind of a thing. Quick observation, just quick behind, on the floor, on the sides. You should also, when you're touching your machine, it should not move at all. It shouldn't wobble, it should be firm. And so sometimes floors might change, subfloor. Sometimes a machine could wobble or change because it has a leak and the floor is getting saturated underneath the subfloor, and that can change. So it's not, sometimes just adjusting a leg slightly could be the solution, but sometimes it's much further than that. So catching these things early is critical to save you time, money, and heartache.
And could a pedestal affect the washing machine at all as far as washing?
Sure. Yeah, those pedestals are also should be, all a pedestal does is raise your front loader off the ground. So same thing applies. Should be firm. Should be the same. It's just an extension of the unit.
And then, what are some kind of warning signs that a homeowner, or someone using a washing machine regularly should keep an eye out for?
A fairly common one is noises like thumping. That could be an indication. It could be an indication that hopefully simply just out of balance, a heavy load, the machine not sitting properly on the floor, but it could also be the beginnings of suspension inside the machine beginning to fail. So loud noises typically don't get better. They don't heal themselves, or noises. They just get louder and worse and more expensive. So something like that should be paid attention to quickly.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as, maybe some smells that might start emanating from the washer, whether it be a top loader or front loader, what could someone do to prevent,
well,
from the washer?
Even though mold and mildew smells are predominantly today in front loaders, they can occur in top loaders as well, because the new detergents are different formula than they were 20 years ago. They're enzyme based, and so they can build up in either machine. Even on a top loader, manufacturers recommend to leave the lid open just so it can get air in and dry out and breathe in between cycles. Also, again, because of the new detergents and the soap chemistry, you have to run clean cycles through your washing machine on a regular basis. Depending on how frequently you use them, it can be as often as every month. And it's actually this is one product, A-Fresh. It's actually pretty simple, straightforward. You just there's a couple tablets in here. You just run an empty load. There might be instructions on your owner's manual on exactly how to do it. There's some have independent cleaning cycles, but basically it's run at a higher temperature, a longer cycle, and you drop a tablet in. It dissolves and it gets rid of that mold and mildew. If you do it on a regular basis, it won't get a chance to build up. If you wait a year or two, you might have to do it a few times. You might have to run a couple cycles because the stuff does build up and gets kind of tough to remove.
Yeah, I know some of the A-Fresh packages, they come with a wipe that you can actually use to wipe off the rubber gasket on the front loader or even the top loader machine to get the gunk that comes off after using that tablet.
And again, the more frequently you do that, the easier it's going to be and the better it's going to be for your machine.
Mm-hmm. And then what are some just other basic maintenance things that someone can do to keep their washing machine working properly?
Well, the front loaders particularly, the front loaders have a strainer and a catch. Like it catches all kinds of things, not just coins, but even big pieces of fabric. There's all sorts of things that go through your laundry, and that's right before the pump in the machine, the drain pump. In fact, this is something, again, a homeowner could do it themselves if they're so inclined and have the user's manual on how to do it. But here's a picture of two of our technicians that are doing just that. They open up the access door and they can remove some of the big debris by hand, but also in there are some very unpleasant things like sludge and and again, all that's sorry. But it's like all that stuff that's in there, it's like the water in your machine, it runs through your machine. So it's not helping your clothes get cleaner or smell better. So that's dependent on frequency, how often you use it. But again, once a year is probably a good rule of thumb to get in there and clean that out. Some other parts of the front loader too, there's usually a dispenser cup that has soap and fabric softener dispenser somewhere. It looks similar to this. They have different compartments, and they again, those get clogged with soap and it gets kind of nasty in there. These can be pulled out and just washed in a sink. Clean it out. Something that people overlook. I'm going to say most people don't even think about it. They just pull it out, put soap, and close the door. But
you would recommend pulling the soap cup out.
What's that?
You would recommend pulling the soap cup out every now and again.
It's one of those things that once you do it, it's fairly easy. Again, if you want us to do it, we will. It's one of the more minor things. Here's just a picture of another one that's broken down into component parts. But these do come out, and in most units, and they should be cleaned on a regular, and that you can see the buildup inside of them.
Yeah, and then as far as if someone's in the market for buying a new washing machine, what are some things that they should keep in mind when making a decision? Versus, I know there's so many different models, so many different features with them nowadays.
Well, I have a friend that called me just 2 weeks ago, and he has 3 children, wife, 3 children, him, and he's and they do a reasonable amount of laundry, and he needed a machine quickly, and he wanted to run over to the big box store and buy the $400 or $500 machine, and I'm like, no, don't do it. Like, if you need a machine for a year or 2 or 3, and it's just if you're a single person or very little laundry, fine, you can do that. But if you're going to work your machine or you want it to last 10 or 15 or 20 years, here I happen to have a transmission out of one of those $400 or $500 machines. It's like there are plastic parts. You see this plastic ears. There aren't even any screws in this. You can tell this is just tack welded and pressed together. And it's like this thing was never meant to be serviced. It was meant that you pay them and then you throw it away when it breaks. And if you look at it, this thing is like less than 3 years old, and it's been leaking water. I mean, the spline on the transmission is like quarter gone. It's like, what kind of steel deteriorates that quickly? It's like, I tell you what kind of steel, crappy steel. And it's like, this is why they're inexpensive. If you want one of these, at least you know what you're buying. Don't expect it to be, a 10-year-old, 15-year-old lasting machine. And it's funny because Speed Queen puts out this picture, and they have an internal shot of they have some components from their machine. Like, they have like a typical internal transmission. It's like 4 plastic ears, and it's like, as opposed to like, steel, something that, good quality parts, high quality, and
That's gonna
again, you're going to entry level on a good machine is probably $800, $900, but like, what do you want? What do you want to spend your money on? Even if you bought a $400 machine twice, it might last you 8 years. If you could buy one of those, if you treat it well, it could last 15 years or longer.
Yeah, and then one of the things that our customers definitely benefit from with our technicians is that when they're out to the home for a maintenance appointment or even a repair, they'll be able to discuss with the homeowners what the best option is for their lifestyle for specific models and brands of appliances. So.
All right. Well, hope this was helpful.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, and again, as always, don't forget to like and share this video with your friends and family. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below, and you can always go to our website, submit a customer service request, or just simply give us a call at 800-752-7123, and anyone in the office will be more than happy to set up an appointment for you or answer any questions that we can.
All right. See you next week.
Yep, see you next week.